Hi, my name is Nick Berger. I was born in Long Island, New York. I now live in Westminster, California. I moved out here in 1965. I've always liked sports cars. My very first new car was an Austin Healey. It literally, if you can believe, back then, it cost me $22 in gas to go from New York to California. All my life, I've wanted 3 or 4 cars. I wanted a Jaguar XKE, which I have. I wanted a Studebaker Avani, which I have. And I wanted a 300 Mercedes SL, but I bought a house instead. And it was cheaper. I saved for 3 years because I have a thing. If it's anything that's a luxury, if I can't buy it cash, I won't buy it. Found a dealership here in Orange County and spent time negotiating it, bought the car. Drove home, got about 2 miles down the freeway and the engine stopped. My next instinct was to walk to a payphone, call the bank and stop payment on the check. I come to find out that the gas cap has a vent hole and the vent hole wasn't drilled all the way through. When I opened up the cap, it ran fine. Quite a few companies would not insure a Jaguar back then, especially if you were 23. Now I've switched over to Haggerty, which is the insurance preference for cars like this.
I met Nick at some local car shows. We talked 4 or 5, 6 times and then kind of reached a point where we were going to get together and try to figure out how to do something on his car. So that was our main introduction to each other. Nick was pretty, confident that he wanted to do like a Kandy red. The bodywork was already completed and it was already primed. It needed final blocking and some final prep, and then we were going to spray it. Me and Nick worked together to create a estimate and some plans, and it was a little bit expensive. Nick found some other places and he was throwing around some ideas of pricing and trying to figure out what they were going to do, and he ended up getting painted somewhere else.
I had the car at home after it was all sandblasted. I had 2 or 3 paint companies come out here, hot rod shops. My first instinct was to go with Matt here at Anaheim Rod and Custom. Another person that I knew that used to own his own hot rod shop said, no, go with these guys. They'll do the same car unless you want to throw money away. So I listened to him. I looked at some of their paint jobs. It was nice, only none of them were Kandy. So that was 6 months and $10,000 down the tubes. The car was no longer what I wanted. It was not a show car anymore. It was a 50-foot car, which meant from 50 foot away it looked okay. Up close it did not. So I called Matt up. Initially,
it was, Matt, can you touch up this paint? So I was kind of like, there's not much I can do. We have to kind of start over.
It actually cost more the second time around because then he had to take the old paint off that the other people put on.
We decided then that we would go forward with stripping it back down to that primer and trying to maximize the investment he'd already made, not just like scrap everything.
This shop and the owner, Matt, is totally different. When you bring in a car to get painted or any other work, he actually does a worksheet. Everything that's done on this car is timed out by the hour, written down in detail. So you know exactly what you're getting, you know exactly what you're paying for it. Unless you have a car into a shop for collision work, you're not used to a hot rod shop doing a detailed estimate. If you want to bring your car here, know what you want done, talk to Matt about it, listen to his advice because it's usually pretty good. Make sure it's written down, and if it's written down, he will do what's there for the time he puts down for it. This particular car, my Jag, is done in a Kandy red with a prism effect, which is not metal flake. It's a totally different situation. It doesn't show up all the time. Sometimes you can't even see it. Sometimes it shows 3 or 4 more colors. I looked at the work that was done in his shop and was very confident that he could do a good job, and he did. The paint is absolutely fantastic. What I've learned from this experience is follow your own instinct. Do due diligence, make sure you check the shop out, make sure they do the kind of work you're after. Now, if you want Kandy, make sure they do Kandy. If you can look at a metal flake job, could be perfect. That doesn't mean they can do a Kandy apple job the same way. This shop itself is one of the most unique shops I've ever seen. How many shops in the world can you sit down and have a drink while the guys are working on your car? Only one I've ever seen. How many shops in the world do a video like this when the car is done? And I've never had a shop do a reveal where they invite your car guy friends over, have a little food, sit around, talk about the car and stuff like that. I've never been to a shop, have you? It's a cool car, it's fun to drive, and it looks perfect. You can't go down the road without people beeping their horn at you and looking at it.
I just wanted to say thank you, and I wanted to thank Nick. You know,
Great
because
job.
it was, thank you. It was just a really wonderful project, and it was great to work with him, and I love it, and I'm really satisfied with the results. And I think that Nick is too.
My problem is he likes the car so much he doesn't want me to take it home.
That may be true. I fell in love.